Okay, hello, my name is Anna, and today I'll be talking a little bit about my experience in this veterinary course, where I learned about conservation of animals in Africa for 2 weeks. First of all, I'm gonna give a little introduction about project that made this experience possible. This is Wild Spirit, I'm sorry, and Wild Spirit was created 14 years ago to provide veterinarians and professionals this immersive training and real-life conservation experiences. Also, they in 2017 expanded their mission by launching a foundation dedicated to fund essentially wildlife conservation projects using donations to support efforts like tracking endangered species and protecting natural habitats. And this project gives you the chance as a veterinarian to make a meaningful change to wildlife and the planet. Learning with the dogs, being literally with the animals, treating them, curing them. It's really amazing. And I think I learned a lot on it. Well, for this video, I'm going to be talking about a little recap of my favorite days that and my favorite things I did there, the things I learned. And yeah, first I'm gonna be talking. I'm sorry. Okay, first we got here the day number 3. Here we talked about cheetah and wild dogs, their medical health, welfare, behavior, and reproduction. I'm very interested in reproduction. It's one of the things that I'm putting as one of my options to study when I become a professional. And this day, we had a theoretical lesson and practical presentation on wildlife anesthesia by Dr. Brendan Thendel. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his last name. Once this talk in the safari was over, we joined Dr. Peter Caldwell in the vaccination of cheetah cubs. This day, the case we treated was a femur fracture on an adult cheetah and its history, and traumatology surgery by Dr. Caldwell, Peter. And we also had a adult cheetah with a root canal infection, diagnosis, and the treatment of it. And lastly, a lecture supervised by also Dr. Peter Caldwell. Some of the concepts that we treated this day or we worked with this day were management for vaccination and treatment on baby calves with mothers and orphans, vaccination protocols for cheetah calves, cheetah immune system and principal diseases, cheetah drug specifications and sensitivity, and internal medicine with anti-inflammatory cycle and organ infection on cheetahs and carnivores, in this case, wild dogs. Of course, and the species we work with, well, cheetah and wild dogs, as I mentioned before. But we also talk and work with things related to the African animal identification and tracking, environmental management on game reserves, nutritional and disease control management, and cheetahs and wild dogs. As I mentioned like 5 times already. I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself. I put this day as one of my favorites because, as I said before, I'm very interested in reproduction, but also because I didn't expect to be working with cheetahs, especially I didn't expect to be working with wild dogs. It's not a species you talk or you hear about much. And well, like as I'm studying veterinary, I don't see these animals. I see horses, I see cows, I see bulls, I see lambs, I don't know, but I don't see many of these kind of animals, more savage ones for say it in a way. It was very interesting, especially because Dr. Peter is amazing in this field. And I think I learned a lot and I'm even more interested in reproduction than before. Then We have the number 5. We watch wild carnivore management and disease control in breeding centers. I think you're gonna notice a pattern here. I repeat, breeding. It's reproduction again, but breeding it's related more to the uh, how the mothers take care of the cubs. The breeding is one of the words I put in my vocabulary. You will see it at the end of the video. But well, talking about this day, and we work in a big cat breeding center where Dr. Peter Caldwell again talked us about how he prioritized the animals' health and welfare. All were big cats and they were strictly cared for. They have a routine um, of how they treat their sickness, how they keep track of how well, they grow on the environment, if they have any signs of any like signs of any that will be worrying for them of their health, and thinking about more of the activities. The activities we completed that day were cheetah vaccinations. We did 25. Caracol vaccination. Caracol, it's a kind of big cat. I put an image at the end because I knew how they looked, but I didn't know that was the name of the animal. Okay, I thought it was a lynx. I'm sorry for that because lynxes don't live in Africa, but I thought they were very similar the first time I saw them. We also did dermatopsis treatment, dermatophytus treatment. Sorry, it's a complicated word to say in English. Applied to 2 white lions and 1 white tiger. I didn't know they have white lions and white tigers here, but it was a pleasant surprise. We also had leopard vaccinations. We made 2 of those. Hyena, anesthesia, and pregnancy diagnosis by ultrasound on 2 hyenas. That's the thing. Other concepts we worked with that day were management of big cats in breeding centers, obviously, differential diagnosis of dermal problems of big cats. In this case, the big cats were the white tiger and the 2 white lions. Treatment for dermatitis on white lions and white tigers. Again, the hyena anesthesia and the pregnancy diagnosis. Seeing a diagnosis of pregnancy with an ultrasound on a human, it's one thing. I think it's very common, very normal. I saw at least the ultrasound of my mother, for example, and you can find them very easily on internet. But seeing an ultrasound of an animal, it was uh, surprising to say the least. It was amazing seeing life being created there. And so yeah, again, reading, very interested in it. And now we can move on to my last day. Well, my last favorite day. All of them were my favorites. I also had um, day 7, if I'm not wrong. We went swimming with sharks. It was kind of scary, not gonna lie, but that was also one of my top favorites. I just couldn't include it here. And the day we went with to take a walk with elephants. I think that was day 13. No, 13. No, that was I think it was day 10. Maybe it was day 10. But that also was amazing. But returning to the topic, day number 6 was rhino capture the horny and aware about coaching. This day even started the day before, like the night, the day before, when the Dr. Brendan, a specialist in black rhinos and rhino capture and management, shared with us a presentations on principles on rhino capture, anesthesia, monitoring, and risks. Then Dr. Quesada, the next day, told us about the vulnerable situation the rhinos are facing in conservation because of the poaching. Poaching is also one of the words I put in my vocabulary. Um, like Dr. Brendan and Dr. Quesada explained to us, poaching is a problem that is sadly very common, especially with the animals that have like horns, because the marmot it's really expensive on the black market. And well, you know how it is. They kill the animal and take away the horn. So the being aware, taking this talk about awareness uh, of poaching and also dehorning, which is a practice that veterinarians do safely to take away the horn of the animal so it could grow away again and they don't have to uh, be at risk or don't get killed because of course the people that do poaching doesn't know how to take the horn and don't make the animal any damage on the process. They don't care about that. But we learned that there is a safe way to do it where the animal doesn't get killed and it can grow its horn again. Well, concepts we worked with that day were the non-surgical dehorning of rhinos, rhino anesthesia, drugs, ethics, and monitoring, dehorning of rhinos, procedures, and permits. We didn't, I personally didn't do it, but I saw the Dr. Brandon, Dr. Quesada doing it, and also some of my uh, teammates, comrades. We also saw wildlife distribution in Africa and South Africa, wildlife actual situation and threats, wildlife international trade, uh, wildlife human conflict, all this poaching, taking territories, destroying habitats, stuff. Wildlife conservation and biodiversity, something that I think as a veterinarian you should care a lot about. Rhinos' actual situation and war on poaching that I mentioned before. Veterinarian role in wildlife conservation, you see, very important. We I mean, there are animalists, but they don't know really how to take care of the animals like we do. They think that it's better if the animals, I don't know, if you had an animal conservation and you then, when they get better, get it back in the wild, they think that's better because they assume that the animal will be happier if they were on the wild. But they don't know the danger, the harm they are causing the animal. That's why veterinarians are very important. They hold a very important role in wildlife conservation. And also veterinarians' actions in rhino conservation, or rhino conservation, sorry. And I think I made my point clear about why I liked this day so much, the awareness, the conscientization. Well, yeah, the talking about how we as a veterinarians can make a change, can use our role to protect the animals like we want to. Yeah, I learned a lot about from Dr. Brendan and from Dr. Quesada, Doctora, sorry. So yeah, we also had a talk with Dr. Caldwell, who was the one performing the hornings. Uh, that's all about today's. I'm sorry I got mixed in here when I say that the horning were made by Dr. Brenton and Dr. Quesada. It was Dr. Cadwell. I just didn't remember and I got messed up. Sorry. Dr. Cadwell made the horning and Dr. Brenton and Dr. Quesada were the ones giving us the talk. It was amazing. I'm just sorry, a little bit confused. Now, lastly, we're gonna talk. Well, I think that's all. Here's the vocabulary I learned. Wildlife is fauna, tracking, seguimiento, cargo. It's the animal I said. It's this one right here, the little cat. Tracking is the image of the buffalo. Dermal is dermical, breeding is crianza. We see that in the little horse. Differential diagnosis is a diagnóstico diferencial. Poaching is caza furtiva. Here is the image. I don't like that image, by the way. And dehorning is descornar. That would be everything. That would be all for my experience on this wildlife conservation and days. Thank you very much. Thank you.